Hello, and welcome back to episode 33 of the Brick Clubhouse. My name is Evan, and I am joined, as always, with my co-host, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Evan. It's so great to be back in the clubhouse.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. It's been a wild week, and I have family flying in tomorrow, and
nice.
It'll continue to be wilder.
Yep, it's kind of life.
Yep, exactly.
Well,
But
at least we get a slight break to talk some Lego together.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's always good to talk a little Lego. I don't get enough of it during the day.
Yeah, working and owning and operating a Lego store.
Being in and around
You really don't
the
get
Lego
enough
store.
You really don't get enough Lego discourse in your day, huh?
No, not
That's
really.
why you come here.
Yeah, which is...
After a long day of working with Lego, you like to come and talk about Lego.
Well, you and I have to debrief Lego.
Sure.
Here we are.
Here we are.
You already mentioned the store, Bricks Minifigs, San Diego North, which I'm kind of fond of that place, and would love for everyone
It's
to...
at least a solid B. No, it's great. We love it.
And now, no matter where you are, you can shop online.
Yes, you can.
bricksandminifigssanDiegoNorth.com.
We tried our best to get you guys a really short URL, so
Yeah, I mean,
enjoy typing in all of
who
that.
wants the short URLs? So there are shorter versions that redirect there, so we'll let that be an Easter egg for anyone that wants to try to figure those out.
Sure. Why would we just give it to them? That's too easy.
Because
gotta make
the
it harder.
real
Gotta make it
URL
harder.
is the whole thing.
Bricks and Minifigs, SanDiegoNorth.com. Yeah, and on that website, we still are filling out our inventory. We're actively working on that. However, a few of the sets we're going to be exploring tonight are currently available.
Oh, yeah.
So, speaking of which, we do have a little bit of follow-up for last episode, actually, before we jump into the topic of this episode. But if you were with us last week, we were talking about the new CMF series, Series 27.
Yes, we were.
And also our favorite CMF figures of all time. If you remember, my figures had a large variety, no continuity whatsoever. You would have no idea looking at them that they were my favorite figures.
Yeah, and if you didn't...
And you were all the same theme.
If you didn't listen to last week's, printed shields came up quite a bit.
Yeah, so every single one of Evan's figures, now I'm talking in the third person, every single one of my figures either had a printed shield and or a bow. Literally all 5 of them. Anyways, so we talked about favorite CMF figures. We promised in that episode that we would have a base plate available in the case at the store where you could pick and choose which figures from the series you want. That is now a reality.
It is.
So if you've been chasing for that Wolfpack Trooper, Wolfpack Ranger, Beastmaster, thank you, and the new molded Wolf,
yes,
or Beast, as
looks great.
Call it. You can come in to Bricks and Minifigs San Diego North, and you can pick that specific minifigure and walk out of the store with it.
You can.
Just like that.
And if you still would like to see what those look like, on our Instagram today, we posted a little video that has all the figures and little Lego versions of us sitting with the wolf and the cat.
You and me?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, thank you, Sterling.
Oh my
Shout
gosh,
out.
I like the head you have for my minifigure. I like so much better than the one I have for my own. I need to get that one. Anyways.
Yeah, that's a side. And I'm not sure that the ones in the video today
are the ones that I'm thinking
were not the ones you made, because...
Well, we made.
Yeah, because...
my knit sweater, my olive green pants.
No, you don't have that one. Sterling picked like an Argyle sweater for you.
Yeah, that's more like old man sweater vest.
No, it really is an old man.
Fair enough.
But,
whatever. Shows you what my friend thinks of me. I give him sushi for his minifigure accessory, and he gives me an old man sweater. So
well, and he made himself a sumo.
No, I know.
It makes an appearance in the video again.
I've seen it. Anyways, there's our follow-up and also a long tangent for you. So there you go.
But all that to say, follow us on Instagram if you want to see some of this silliness unfold in real time.
Yeah. So we actually now, I guess, can lead into our topic for this video. So similar to last week, how one of the new January 1st releases kind of inspired us to have a CMF-centric episode. This week, we are going to be focusing on modulars because, as we covered in our January 1st release video, we got a new modular set this year. I'm not going to go into detail on it now because, spoiler, it will be featured later in the episode.
Yeah. Before we even get into our picks, one of the things that inspired me to even suggest that we talk about modulars, Lego has made a new Instagram account called Lego Builds. And it's really aimed at AFOLs, and it has a lot of cool Lego history.
For those
and
of you that are unaware, AFOL is adult fans of Lego.
Yeah, sorry, I
Chris.
got into the acronyms.
Not all
but
of us are hip with the lingo.
On this Instagram account, Lego Builds, Lego posted a history of the modulars with a slide for each one. And it was fun reading some of the facts and things. And I thought, it would be good for us to discuss our favorites.
Yeah, so also just for fun, I guess, before we dive into it, this is also a little bit of an audible, not on the sheet, but a little bit of history of modulars in the store. So, and modulars in general. So yeah, so similar to like the Winter Village collection that we talked about back in December, the Lego modular collection, them actually labeling the sets, the Lego modular collection is more recent of a thing. But similar to the Winter Village sets, going back, when was the Parisian restaurant released? Because that was the first one, right? But over 10 years ago now.
Well, the hotel is the Cafe Corner.
Cafe Corner
was the first kind of labeled one,
sure.
And that was in 2007.
Wow. Yeah, and so basically what modular sets are is they're buildings that are built on a base plate or a base plate and a half that are meant to integrate into a Lego city, be full buildings with full interiors, fully closed off backs, and they also have Technic pins around them so that they can be connected to other modular buildings to create city blocks or any other formation like that you would want. And they feature buildings such like a fire station, and we talked about like restaurants and grocery stores and movie theaters and car garages.
Yeah, a lot of the kind of basic things you would find in a city.
Yeah,
they've kind of covered over the time.
Except
almost
for a hospital,
almost 20 years.
A lot of people want
that they've been doing modulars.
Yeah, so they're very popular in the community. It's one of like the gateway Lego sets, if you will. I've heard a lot of people that come into the store looking for modular sets. They say, "Yeah, I just got one," and then now it's like, "Well, got to get it a friend." Okay, well,
yeah,
I can't be just two of them. I got to get the whole right because you can build your whole block, and it kind of looks. Some of them look not as great by themselves versus if they're part of like a whole block.
Yeah, so. and they're kind of they're a fun build. Like if you've ever built one, because you're building these different interiors and you're building, and especially the newer ones have a lot of detail
which we'll
in
cover.
them. Yeah. Just a little tangent, like my history with modulars. I think you've mentioned before, you don't really have any. There's some that you have on your wish list, but you don't have any modulars yet.
I don't know.
And I...
More of a UCS guy.
I fell into kind of this modular rabbit hole during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I built my first one, and we'll talk about it. It's on my list, so I will shout it out when we get to it. But I built my first one and then quickly decided it needed friends, like you said, and quickly bought all that were still available.
Quickly bought, but didn't build.
Some of them, I had to think about it.
Yeah.
Some of them are built now. I didn't build them all.
No.
But I wanted to get the ones that were still available since they do retire, and they kind of only last 2 or 3 years before retiring. And at the time, like, Assembly Square was about to retire, so I wanted to get that one before it retired. And since then, I think I've got all of the ones since I started collecting. I haven't gone back very far. So
and a little while ago when I was still working at the store, we had a huge demand for modulars. People were coming in all the time for modulars, and whenever we get one in, it would sell like right away. So you actually ended up finding someone who wanted to trade in, like, what was it, 11 or 12 of them?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of them.
So there was one morning where Chris and I drove out to this guy's house, actually, which is rare. We don't usually do that.
No, I've only done it a few times.
Yeah, but anyways, we loaded up your entire car. Like, we were carrying these modulars down the stairs from this guy's apartment, like, out to your car, and loaded up a bunch of them, brought them in. And they're super popular. We set them up on the top shelf behind the counter, and if nothing else, they grab people's eye, and then of course the people that were asking for them ended up getting them, and so super popular, super fun.
And we should also say that as we talk about modulars, there is like the kind of Lego creator line,
which is now what, Lego Icons?
Yeah. That has kind of like the base city ones. And we'll talk about a lot of those, and those are the ones that are in the Lego Builds post. But then they've also made some other like modular adjacent, modular compatible sets,
like licensed sets mostly.
Yeah, because we've got Marvel, has three,
The
four.
The X Mansion, right?
Oh, yeah. They have 4 now that are compatible with the modulars. They have the Technic pins. They're built on base plates that you can integrate into your city if you wanted to. And we may mention a few of those when we get to our lists. But there are a number of Bricklink designer sets that are also compatible with the modular line. And we've talked about the Bricklink program before, so we don't have to revisit it in this episode. Go back to prior shows if you want to learn more about Bricklink. But
tell them we sent you.
They've made a handful of other modulars to go into your city.
Yeah.
But I believe they've said they're not allowing any more Bricklink modular designs.
Interesting.
I could be wrong on that, but
yeah. Well, yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, jumping into our list now. For those of you that have listened to us for a while, whenever we do these lists or drafts, we always set out some ground rules just to say what's fair game and what's not, because sometimes with these themes, there's some gray areas, or they change, they add in actual, like the modular collection, like they added in for the modulars recently. So for the purposes of this episode, all of our picks, in order to qualify as a modular set, the set has to be built on a base plate and have Technic pins to connect it to other buildings. So a couple of notable sets that will not be featured in this list. Something like, let's say, the motorized lighthouse, built on a base plate, but you can't connect it with Technic pins to another building. Or the medieval blacksmith. Or something like the old fisherman's store, which, so good. But sets such as those won't be featured in these and are disqualified because they cannot connect to other modular buildings with Technic pins.
Right, which is kind of sad because there's some incredible sets that just don't qualify, but that's okay.
Or also the most recent one would be the Botanical Garden.
Yeah, which
bummer.
A lot of people, do modify things for their cities.
And you easily can. Like that's one of the ones that is a building, so you easily could put in some bricks with Technic pins and modify it yourself if you'd like to. But with that being said, we each picked 3 with the what's the term I'm looking for?
Honorable mentions.
Or do you want to just do all 4? Let's do 4.
Yeah, we can do 4.
Sure, we got 4. Did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll lead off this time. I went with my first pick. This is the earliest one on my list, and it is the Palace Cinema. I picked it because I love going to the movies. I love all of that. 2, it kind of has old Hollywood vibe to it, and it has cool. Like a limo that's included in it. And so I wanted to give a shout out to that one. And it is
10232.
Yes, came out in 2013.
And it comes with 2,196 pieces.
It comes with 6 minifigures. Now, this is one of the earlier modulars, as we said. So the interior isn't as developed as some of the current modulars are. And a lot of people have gone in and modified it, making it better, or replaced the movie posters with, like, Star Wars movie posters or things like that. But I still like the classic. I love the design on the sidewalk, and it kind of has that Grumman's Chinese theater look to it. This is the only of the older modulars that I've actually gone back and purchased that wasn't available when I first started getting modulars.
Yeah.
Because I like movies so much. So
it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the ones that, the older ones, I'm not going to see any of the older ones on my list because the interiors are just too bare for me.
It is a very boring interior.
And it is such a bummer because it's a movie theater. Like, they could have done something super... Like, if they would have made it today, like, there would have been so much more detail.
Well, and you wonder if they will ever kind of revisit the movie idea. Like, because they kind of revisited theater-esque kind of scene in the jazz club.
Sure.
But there's still something just so elegant about
the exterior looks great.
The old school Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. And if you're just going to put it on a shelf and look at it, it's awesome. And it has like the stars on the sidewalk, kind of like you said, like the Hollywood, like the Walk of Fame. It's great. It's a good pick.
Yes. So that was my number 1. Why don't you hit your number 1?
Yeah, so my number 1 is one that I've talked about before on here, and there's a couple sets that I would have liked to have, but I didn't start collecting Lego till after they retired. One main one that I'll get to in a couple picks. But my number one is actually the one that came out last year, and this is set number 10326. This is the Natural History Museum. So this set actually comes with 4,014 pieces. I think it's the biggest modular they've made in terms of piece count. But this one, it's an olive green color scheme. It's a classic Natural History Museum look with the giant white stone pillar, like white marble pillars out front. You got these two awesome plastic printed banners highlighting a couple of the displays on the interior. Really cool cherry tree outside. And then maybe my favorite detail is on the inside in the atrium is a giant Brachiosaurus skeleton, like fossil build that actually the head reaches up into the second floor, kind of over the balcony of the second floor. This is one that I loved from the moment I saw it revealed, and I've wanted it since then. But I actually got to go to New York last year and go to the American Museum of Natural History.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk in the atrium, they have a Brachiosaurus fossil, up on display, just like they do in this set. And so I personally feel like that has to not be a coincidence. Like, that has to be intentional.
No, there was definitely inspired.
Because the American Museum of Natural History in New York is one of the most famous natural history museums. For those of you that don't know, that's like the one that the exterior shots are what they use for Night of the Museum. Like, it's huge, huge museum. But after coming back from New York last March, I've wanted to build this set even more now. It's just so pretty. And this is one, I talked earlier about how a lot of these sets might be hard to display by themselves, like a Palace Cinema. So that's one of the corner builds, which, we'll see those here and there. But it is one that it's harder to display by itself because of it's a corner. But this Natural History Museum is one that I personally think you could totally put up on a shelf by itself, and it stands alone and it looks fantastic.
Yeah. Now, this is one that I have built, and it does look really, really great.
Yeah.
I don't have like a big city setup. I just kind of have a row of my modulars up on top of a bookcase, and it is the most striking. Like, it stands out. It definitely stands out the most from the ones that I have.
Yeah, and all the little exhibits on the inside are great. One of the other highlights is they have like a little section for the history of the minifigure.
Oh, yeah,
which is really cool. So they have like a little like pirate hat and a little pirate ship build, and then they have like the little forestman hat and like a little forestman hideout set, and then they have like a knight's helmet and a little like Lion Knight's castle like micro build, and so it's and a space exhibit and all the other.
Yeah, there are a lot of great little Easter eggs in this set. Yeah, hidden in the build, plus ones you can see,
and there's a whole story to it.
And I love like even the Brachiosaurus, like you can take it out. And it's a standalone piece.
Yes.
So, like, you could have it standing out in front of the museum if you wanted to.
Like I used to have on my Animal Crossing museum. But, yeah, I mean, like we said, the newer ones have much more interior detail, and I'm very glad this one has so much. If you're ever interested, it's really fun to look up the designer interview for this set because a lot of these modulars has, like, a story built into it. And this one is, a lot of them you could go in and research, but this one's fun because the designer talks about how each of the minifigures kind of plays into the story and some of the Easter eggs throughout the build, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I really recommend this set also. I'm a big fan of it. It's a fun one. Good pick there. With my second pick, I'm going to go with one of the licensed ones, and it is set number 76178. This is the Daily Bugle. And this came out in 2021 and has 3,592 pieces. But one of the incredible things about this one is it has 25 minifigures.
Yep.
Which is just wild that a set would have that many figures.
Could it be Star Wars?
Nope. Mos Eisley, they have a lot, but not this many. But it's exactly what you think it is. It's the Daily Bugle from Spider-Man, the newspaper office.
Really well.
Yeah, it's 4 stories tall, and so it's much taller than all the regular modulars that's there, and it's got a huge antenna on the top. And the interesting thing, too, is it's built so there's like this battle going on around it. So there are a lot of like stud connections where you can have figures coming out from it looking like they're jumping out or crashing into the building or crawling up the building or whatever. And it's just done really well and looks really great on display. And this is one You can integrate it in your city. It's got the pins, so it can connect and be part, or it's also a great standalone.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite sets, and I love Spider-Man. I really hope someday we might get a Daily Planet, but I'm not holding my breath on that.
Let's get a Daily Planet based off of the new movie.
Well,
No,
that's
a
what.
comic book out here would be cool too.
But this is a great one. It comes with a little taxi that goes along with it, and it's just a really fun set.
Yeah, I love the Green Goblin exploding through the front window.
Yeah,
Super
and
cool.
this is the only way to get a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
We just don't see them. Some of them are minor characters, and some of them are, like Daredevil. This is the only Daredevil figure they've officially made. And so if you like to collect all of the figures, this is great, but it's also just a super, super fun build with lots of different Spider-Man that you could...
Spider-Pig.
Spider-Ham's in there, Miles is in there, Peter Parker's in there.
Isn't this one with Blade? No,
Yep.
Blade. And the Punisher.
Yep, and you get Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
And Black Cat.
And Black Cat and
Lots of
Venom.
good figures.
So many great figures.
Yeah.
And that's really, in addition to a great build, just great cast of characters.
Yeah, and I've gotten to build this one, and it's pretty awesome. So, good pick. My next one is actually the newest addition to the modular collection, and that is set number 10350, the two-door corner, coming in with 3,266 pieces. We talked about this one in pretty good detail in our January 1st episode, but just another brief rundown. I think the moment I saw this set, I was like blown away, and I wanted it in my collection. And again, coming from someone who doesn't own any modular sets, but just the architecture, the color choices, the way that it looks like a mock, like a fan-made mock, but in the best way possible. It just looks beautiful, and I love how it's not uniform. It's not the same architectural style or color throughout. I love the little clockmaker's store on the second floor. The apartment on the third floor is super fun with the cat tree. And then the little like cafe pub on the first floor has some really, really great details in it. So just another one too that I'm glad was made recently, just so that it can be jam-packed full of details on the inside like it is. Oh, and the haberdashery on the first floor. Super, super fun. So yeah, I'll keep this one relatively quick just because we've talked about it before. But yeah, the two-door corner has to be on that list for me.
Yeah, I like you said, we discussed this in our January 1st episode, so I won't go into too much detail, but I just think they nailed it. The pub is great, the apartment's great, the clock, like all of the parts, and they just integrated it, like all these different looks and different, like the restaurant, the clockmakers, the apartment, like the haberdashery. It's all integrated so well and looks so great. And it's another corner. I mean, we've mentioned now of the four we've talked about, two have been corners, which we'll have to track that as we keep going. I think
we're going to finish with a total of 3.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. So,
anyways, that's my second pick, two-door corner.
Yep, that's another great one. I'm a fan.
Oh, by the way, both of the sets I've picked so far, we do currently have in the store, and by the time this episode comes out, we should have the Daily Bugle available in the store as well.
Yeah, and we'll get to that and what's new in the store, because we've got a lot of modular stuff happening in the store right now. I picked a traditional modular. I picked a licensed modular. And now with my third pick, I'm picking a Bricklink Designer Program modular. So I'm kind of all over the place, but this one is set number 910009, and it is the modular Lego store. Came out in 2022 as part of the Bricklink Designer Program, and what you may not know is that I collect Lego stores. I have a whole bunch of them, and this is by far the biggest and the coolest, and I love looking at it, even though I didn't build it.
Who did?
Who did build it?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Evan built it. We used to have what we call backlog Mondays, and before she was your bride, you were engaged, you guys would come over and we would build all my old Lego sets.
Yeah.
And
That's a good time.
you got to build this one as part of that, and it just looks great. It's got a really cool like facade on the front with a bunch of gears and just a great big Lego sign, and the whole front of it is glass and has like a huge pick-a-brick wall on the back and a little
So
storeroom that you can access on the back side. It opens up, and it has some really like oversized Lego bricks on the front of it, and it is just I love this set. Like you said, I collect Lego stores, and this is kind of the crowning jewel of that collection, just because it is so big and it takes up the entire base plate.
Yeah, pretty much. There's like 2 studs on the back.
Yeah, there's a little tiny sidewalk in front and a little buffer in back, and it looks really good next to the Natural History Museum up on my shelf.
Who would have thought? 2 places I went to in New York, the Lego store.
And there you go.
Yeah, I love this one. It was super fun to build. The giant glass windows in the front just make the building seem super open. The one thing about this set is that I wish it would have been an actual Lego set so that they could have made some like micro builds of sets, more of them, and that they could have done some like the printed or stickered like boxes on the shelf, because they're just like random pieces on the shelf that look like boxes. That's like the one thing as I was building it.
Yeah, I know, and it's not a perfect set, but I will say,
it's so great.
Like in my row of modulars in the city, like this one is so striking, being all glass.
Yeah.
In the front, looks very like they took an old building and rebuilt it. It's kind of like what Apple does.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of an Apple store with all glass windows.
It absolutely, you could swap out the Lego logo for an Apple logo, and it would kind of go right along with it. So
yeah,
that's where I'm going to land with my third pick.
Yeah, that's a good one. For my third pick, I'm actually going to choose my oldest set that I'm going to choose in this list. So although there are some older ones that I love, again, the interior detail for me just really sets these ones apart. So this is set number 10260. This is the Downtown Diner with 2,480 pieces. I love this one. It looks like a 1950s diner. 50s, right? Or that's kind of what I was going for?
Yeah.
It's awesome. The color scheme is great. It comes with a little car side build that's like a baby pink color. And then you got the pink neon diner sign and this giant kind of like glass window build on the right hand side with this really cool like teal color around it, and it almost looks like a jukebox. Like it kind of looks like the building is built like a jukebox, which is really cool. And then also like the glass window for the diner is the build is awesome. It's like a wraparound corner window, and it has like white trimming along it, but it's like curved, so it looks like kind of just like an oval window. It looks really awesome. It has 3 stories, so you got stairs going up the side, which goes to the boxing ring on the second floor. Actually, sorry, the second floor I think might be, no, that second floor is the boxing ring. So you got the boxing ring on the second floor, which is random but really cool. There's a punching bag and like a boxing mat. And then on the third floor, you have a recording studio, which is super fun. You got the little recording studio and like a gold record on the wall and a little like coffee setup and like the technician's chair with the recording, not film obviously, but tapes, the recording tapes. Just some cool little builds.
Yeah, I think the shapes that they accomplish in this are the most striking.
Super fun.
Just like the curves and the spelling out of diner.
Yeah, they spell out in bricks. Yeah.
And
then of course the first floor is a diner. So it's a nice old like soda fountain diner with a gumball machine, and I do believe it has a jukebox in it. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Yes, it does. Super, super cool details. You got like the waitress with the skates on, and you got the guy with the classic like kind of in and out style like hat that he's wearing. That's also with like the fast food like CMF figure, if you can picture that. So anyways, this set has come into the store a couple of times when I was not able to afford it and would have loved to take it home. It's one that usually sells very fast when it comes in. It's pretty popular. And up until the last 2 years before the Natural History Museum came out, this was my favorite modular ever.
That's a good one. It's also high on my list of of modulars. For my next pick, I'm going to go to 2019, and this was the first modular that I ever built and kind of inspired me to fall down this modular rabbit hole, and it is set number 10264, the Corner Garage. And I love cars, and that's one of the reasons that I was inspired to get this one. The first floor, and as it says, it's a corner, and it kind of has like a driveway that goes kind of in the front quarter of the base plate, and then it has like a little service station, gas station where a car can pull in under an overhang to get gas, plus it has a garage on one side that a tow truck can go in, and then on the other side is a door that leads up to the upper floors of the garage, and it comes with a great little moped and some fun characters. On the second floor of the garage is actually a veterinary office, so it's got some fun animals in there and a veterinarian that works there. And then the third floor, if I remember, is more just like living space, apartment kind of area. But on the roof, there's a little place where there's a lounge chair, an umbrella, where like somebody could go and lay out and get a tan on top of the garage here. Like I said, I really enjoyed the build of it. I just enjoy the modular aspect. And this is kind of like when they were starting to put more detail in, but not near as much detail as we have now. You do have, like I said, a number of animals and just some fun little story elements that are included in this set. And it has inspired my whole modular collection at this point. So
Yeah, this is a fun one.
So
it looks
I had
really
to
good
call
up on
it
your
out.
shelf too.
it does. It looks it on the row of modulars I have. It is the first one, and maybe I should take a picture of my modulars to post on the website brickclubhouse.com if you want to see what my row of modulars look like, because not everyone can make a city block. Not everyone has, basements. In this part of the country, that's not something we have.
Not much.
So space is often at a premium. So I'll show how I've displayed my modulars. But, yep, that's Corner Garage.
Okay, so before I give you my last one, which set do you think is older, the Corner Garage or the Downtown Diner?
I think the Diner.
The Downtown Diner is 1 year older than the Corner Garage. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because the Downtown Diner has more interior detail than the Corner Garage. And I'm trying to understand why that would be. Why they would make one with more interior detail and then release one a year later with less.
I feel like they're close to the amount of detail. Part of it is there's a lot more you can do in a diner than in a garage. Like, it has, like, the place to work on cars, and it has...
The first floor has a ton of detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first floor of the Corner Garage has a ton of detail. But, like, I look on the insides, and I don't know. Like, the recording studio has way more detail than the little, like, living space or the veterinarian.
Yeah, I do feel like definitely the third floor of the Corner Garage leaves something to be desired. But given how long it takes to develop Lego sets, like, these could have been being developed in parallel, and... They just, we're kind of in that transition period.
That's true. I do also love, like, the door that opens up on the side for the Corner Garage that goes into the garage.
Yeah, that rolls up.
I love it.
Because the next year in 2020, we got the bookshop, and it has a fair amount of detail.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel like they were finding their way, that the story was important.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm not trying to knock on the Corner Garage at all. I just found that interesting. Because by looking at them, I would have guessed the Downtown Diner was more recent, but not quite. Okay, so for my last pick, I'm going to go with a licensed one. This is my first licensed one. So this is set number 76269. This is the Avengers Tower with 5,201 pieces. So, yeah. I mean, there's not a ton to say about this one other than it's Avengers Tower, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories tall. And they were able to pull off the angles and the all window design and it looks fantastic. And the way you can just take off the entire side of the building to open up all the floors in one fell swoop, and it just leans up against it and stays on super well. I love the little landing pad with the little Quinjet build that can fold up and go on there. I love the little Leviathan build. I love the Kevin Feige minifigure, which you were talking about Daily Bugle figures. The Avengers Tower set has 31 minifigures. They do include a couple like droid builds, like the
but still,
and the Ant-Man microfigure.
That many, it's crazy that many characters were included.
Yeah, and it pulls from almost all of the Avengers movies. Like there's stuff from the first one, there's stuff from Endgame, there's stuff from Age of Ultron. There's Easter eggs or builds or minifigures referencing, I think, 3 or 4 of the Avengers movies. It's awesome. It's, in my mind, and we've talked about it before, I like big sets, but in my mind, this is the best Marvel Lego set they've ever made.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the main one that I want in my collection someday. Where would I put it? No idea. Was it really interesting to get up and down from the top shelf in the store without dropping the whole thing? Yes. But, I mean, yeah, you got people flying around, you got Hulk smashing Loki into the ground, you got all the things. It's just, again, like I said, I think it's the pinnacle of Lego.
It's
Marvel.
The ultimate Marvel Avengers set. It is so fun. I echo everything you said about it. It's a really good looking set.
It looks amazing.
The only knock I've heard on it is the build is a little tedious with the windows.
It's a ton of windows. I just feel like for me, and I haven't built it, so I can't speak to that, but it feels to me like the finished product is so worth it.
Oh yeah,
because it just looks so amazing.
It's so good, and like you said, I love that it comes with a Kevin Feige.
It's so fun
minifigure. It's just perfect.
It has a little printed Avengers hat.
Yeah.
They also have the little shawarma table build, which doesn't make a ton of sense because that's not the shawarma build. That's from Age of Ultron when they're trying to lift Thor's hammer. I got my table scenes confused, but it's fantastic.
It's a good one. Yeah, we've had it in the store a number of times.
It's so good.
We will have a certified one available shortly.
Hopefully by the time the episode drops.
Yeah, hopefully by the time this drops, you can find it on the website or in the store.
If that one certain employee gets to it.
Yeah, you can't trust those people related to you, Evan.
I know.
But we don't want to call anyone out that may not want to be on the podcast.
No.
I have one more. Can I break the rules?
You can do a little honorable mention?
Yeah, we'll call it an honorable mention. This is another Bricklink Designer modular, and we've discussed before my love of trains, and I just want to call out Bricklink set 910034, and this is Brick Cross. It is a train station that they just did such a great job on this design. It is a classic European train station. You have the big central place with the big screen with all of the timetables of when the train's coming and going. You have the newsstand on the side where you can go buy your magazines. There's the cafe where, people are, sitting and drinking their coffee, waiting for the train. And then on the back side is a place where you can actually place a train, and it has a train track there. And I just really like this set. Like I said, I love trains. I find train travel to be super fun, and this just captures that so well. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to this one. And this one is one of the ones we haven't mentioned this on all of them, but this is one of the ones that's a base plate and a half. So it's a little bigger than your typical modular, but I really like it. Comes with 8 minifigures, and they're just kind of basic traveler type minifigures or people you would see at the train station. It's not perfect. There's some quirkiness in the where the kitchen is versus where the restaurant is. Like, you can tell it's definitely a Bricklink designed set and not an official Lego set, but it's got a really cool glass atrium, and I just, like I said, I think they captured the look and feel of this train station so well. I wanted to give it a shout out.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And that's one that we have in the store.
It is.
Which is a great segue into what's new in the store.
Yeah, what's new in the store? Well, as we've alluded to, we had a big buy this weekend of modular sets somebody brought in, and none of them were built, but they were organized really well, and they all have their instructions and things. So we're in the process of certifying them all right now, and we'll have them hopefully in the store ready to go by the time this episode drops, like you said. And we have the Natural History Museum and a lot of the new ones, the Jazz Club, the police station, Daily Bugle, Avengers Tower, just a whole bunch of them that are really fun. Plus, we've got a number of modulars new in box, like some of the Bricklink ones we've mentioned. We got the new two-door corner. We have one of the really old ones we haven't mentioned is the fire station. We have new in box, and that's kind of one of the classic early modulars that a lot of people are after, because I believe that one came out. Yeah, it came out in 2009. So one of the first few modulars that there were, and the box is in great shape. So if you are looking for any of these modulars or would like to see some of them up close and personal, because we also have some pre-owned ones that are up on the shelf that you can take a look at, swing by the store or visit us on our online store on Bricks and Minifigs SanDiegoNorth.com and take a look at some of the modulars we have, and maybe you'll want to add some to your collection. But I do warn you, you build one, you may not stop there. Like the old Ruffles commercial. No one, or Pringles. What was the chip? You can't just eat just one. You can't build just one modular.
Yeah.
They get lonely.
You get addicted.
Yes. So that's what's happening in the store this week. And want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. Make sure you go out to wherever you get your podcast, Apple or Spotify, YouTube. Give this a thumbs up, subscribe. It really helps the show and helps us get in front of more people and share this little toy that we all love. It's so much more than a toy these days.
It is.
With everyone. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Say goodbye, Evan.
Goodbye, Chris.